Notorious Sorcerer, Davinia Evens, spoil-free review. Welcome back, book nerds. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Notorious Sorcerer, this is a book you've read before. And what I mean by that is that it feels very familiar. There are tropes in this book that are done many times before. And as someone who has read tons of books for many years, it is very hard to find a book that has not hit on these tropes. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. I tend to look for these tropes when searching out a new fantasy book because I do enjoy them. So when I say that it's just like 100 other books, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It could be a comfortable thing. So the main character, Sion Velo, is a street urchin, a boy from the street, and he lives in a world where magic is only done by the elite and is very, very much policed. And you're not really allowed to do it unless you have license to do it. And he creates this spell, this really nice spell, and it draws the limelight to his attention, and it's not really a good thing. And he never really had magic before, and now suddenly he has magic, and his life is changed forever after that. And unfortunately, the limelight is not a place that he really wants to be in. This is definitely the chosen one trope, the one who's going to save the city. And the chosen one has been done to death so many times. And it's hard to find a chosen one trope that's done a little differently. And unfortunately, this one is like many other books that have come before it. It mirrors several books that I've read before. Now, not to say that this is a bad book, because this is a delightful book. This is a very fun book to read. And like I said before, sometimes I look for those tropes, and maybe you do too. This is an easy read. It's a fun world, though it's a narrow world. It doesn't go beyond the actual city, and there are hints of a bigger world out there, but you don't get any of it. There's no massive world building in this book, just in his own little narrow view of the world. That's not to say in later installments that there's going to be a bigger world that comes into play. This is book one after all, so who knows what's to come. So let's talk about the characters for a minute. Characters had good voice, they're well written, they're distinctive, the dialogue is very well done. The world has street urchins, it's got street gang, it's got political intrigue. The magic system is kind of fun, makes the book worth reading. The magic system, I would say, is the part that really pulled me in. There are four planes of the magic system that the characters can travel through. Now, that's all I'm going to say about the magic system because it would really give away big parts of the book. So you really want to know about it, just go read the book. So the city is cut in half by a massive chasm, and there's a history built around the chasm from some horrible event in the timeline of this world. And you get just a little bit of it. Hopefully, in book two, you will get more of what this massive event was that created this fissure in the middle of their city. And you are fired into this in chapter one. I mean, this book takes off like a bullet leaving a gun barrel. So much so that when I was reading this, I was confused if I was actually reading book two. I was like, did I pick up a book that was not the start of a series? Because I felt like I was just dumped right in the middle of all this chaos. So much so that I had to Google the book and make sure that it was book one. And so that was a downside for me because I was so confused of what was going on. And it took me half the book to really realize who these people were and what these events were happening that they were talking about. So overall, I really enjoyed the book. It was a fun read, a good magic system, good characters, good plot line around the characters. The story was engaging. Now, was it one of the best books I've ever read? No, it wasn't one of the best books I've ever read. But I feel that it is worth picking up. If you want a fun, quick read, Notorious Sorcerer, Davinia Evans, it's worth it. I give it a solid B+. Thank you, and read fancy.